By now, I'm sure most of us have heard of the late rapper Tupac Shakur. And for the people who don't know, Tupac was one of the biggest rappers of all time. He rose to fame at a time where hip-hop music was in the middle of a deadly East Coast-West Coast beef that put gangster rappers from New York in a dangerous war with rival rappers from LA. But as Tupac rose to hip-hop fame, so did beef and tensions begin to escalate with other famous artists who were heavy in the streets, just like his crew. After Tupac survived nearly 5 shots in an elevator in New York City, it began to look like Pac's success and outspoken revolutionary nature led to more problems. They say, for every action that you take causes a greater and equal reaction. And eventually, a rival group would soon hatch a plot to hire HITMAN to end Pac's successful hip-hop career and take the life of one of the most beloved and brightest stars, Tupac Amari Shakur, but we all know him as Tupac. And today, we'll be taking a look at the punishment that his killers got and how the Las Vegas Police Department rips apart the alleged leader who ordered the hit. As most of us know, it all started on the evening of September 7th, 1997, when footage began to circulate of Tupac involved in a fight with a man named Orlando Baby Lane Anderson in the middle of the MGM Grand lobby. The guy they were jumping belonged to a rival gang of Compton Crips, and it began to become clear to the streets that Tupac was moving around Las Vegas heavy with his CEO, Suge Knight. News of this got around quickly, and before you knew it, multiple hitmen emerged out of a white Cadillac at a traffic light of Flamingo Road and Koval Lane, where Tupac was sitting at a red light and opened fire, spraying the whole car. Soon after, news began to go around of Pac unfortunately losing his life, and the streets began to ask, who would be bold enough to pull off a brazen murder attempt like this? Rap fans began to speculate that it had to be one of his many rivals in a list of individuals Pac had a history of beefing with, but nobody knew for sure. But this is the part where things go left and the police closed in on these would-be assassins. The hitmen almost got away with it, but shortly after the hit, police could barely find any clues behind who shot Tupac. According to reports, detectives began to investigate the man Pac beat up, Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, as a potential suspect, and police also turned their attention to Pac's East Coast rap rival, rapper Biggie Smalls, and his CEO, Sean Puffy Combs, as potential suspects as well. However, Biggie Smalls was later cleared of all suspicion and was proven innocent and no longer a suspect. But before police can get more major clues to help crack this case, rapper Biggie Smalls was shot and killed in a similar fashion in Los Angeles. And now, there was only one suspect left, Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, who was then also killed mysteriously at a car wash in LA, and what detectives claim was an unrelated gang shooting. And man, them LA streets is dangerous. They don't play out there. But with a string of conspiracy theories and no suspects in custody, the Las Vegas Police Department couldn't track down any living suspects, and this case went cold until 22 years later when police reopened the case with a major clue revealing the leader who ordered the assassination. And would you believe this? Authorities say the leader responsible was the same exact dude who had been doing podcast interviews for years and implicated himself as a West Coast gang leader who was actually in the suspected white Cadillac that was used to hit up Tupac. Police believe the ringleader was none other than a man named Dwayne Davis, aka Keefe D, 60 years old, who is the uncle of Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, who ironically was the same man that got beat up by Tupac and his crew at the MGM Grand after the Tyson fight. But on July 2023 in Las Vegas, police issued a search warrant and had armed SWAT teams surround Keefe D's house in an intense standoff. Cops then raided the place and took all items of interest until authorities had everything they needed to prove that he was the alleged leader to shoot up Tupac Shakur. But for some reason, in a strange occurrence, people began to question how was the alleged ringleader of the murder plot never caught after all these years, which led to outrage for many of Tupac's fans. How did investigators drop the ball in such a high-profile murder case? I mean, this guy was even doing interviews on YouTube with millions of views. But right now, you're about to see exactly how Tupac's alleged killer got ripped apart by the Las Vegas authorities.
Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, thank you for joining us this afternoon. 27 years. 27 years.
27 years.
For 27 years, the family of Tupac Shakur has been waiting for justice. We are here today to announce the arrest of 60-year-old Dwayne Keith Davis, aka Keefe D, for the murder of Tupac Shakur.
Finally.
Davis was arrested this morning by my LVMPD criminal apprehension team, and this investigation started on the night of September 7th, 1996. Sheesh. It is far from over.
You got that right.
Mr. Davis's own words reinvigorated our case in 2018.
His own words.
I'm going to give you some of those details, and I'm going to introduce to you our homicide lieutenant, Jason Johansson, and he will provide you many of the details on how we got here today.
Thank you, Sheriff, and thank you, everybody, for being here today.
They not
My
playing,
name's
bro.
Jason Johansson, and I'm the homicide lieutenant. Mr. Davis took the gun that he had obtained and provided it to the passengers in the rear seat of the vehicle. They pulled up near the passenger side of that vehicle and immediately began shooting at Mr. Knight and Mr. Shakur. But it wasn't until 2018 that this case was reinvigorated as additional information came to light related to this homicide.
Uh-oh.
Specifically, Dwayne Davis's own admissions to his involvement in this homicide investigation that he provided to numerous different media outlets.
Cooked. So this guy was in a car doing Tupac's murder, and while almost getting away with it, he basically was taunting the police to arrest him, doing TV interviews, writing memoirs about it, cashing out, and getting clout off his involvement. I mean, this guy is the definition of being given an inch and taken a mile. But if many of you was just as confused as I was about how a murder suspect could be released after being investigated by police as a suspect, TMZ News says the reason that Keefe D was never arrested was because allegedly he had a proffer agreement with the feds, which is basically a plea deal with the U.S. State's attorney to have his indictment shredded for cooperating with authorities.
Does PPD have immunity? Why has there never been any prosecution of him, even though he's telling everybody
that he was in
the car?
Yeah.
Keefe D's first confession to law enforcement was in December of 2009 when we sat down with him under what's known as a proffer agreement, where he can disclose incriminating information about his involvement in a murder, but we can't use that self-incriminating statement against him. So this happens, in 2009. And then years go by, he's protected from his own incriminating statements, but then he begins to go out and boast publicly about his involvement in the murder. That completely nullifies, this agreement. Now everything he says is incriminating. He never had immunity, and that's the misunderstanding people have. He had protection from self-incrimination, but that's not immunity. He can still be prosecuted, and hopefully he does. Hopefully that's what we have going on right now.
So when we started talking,
finally with some answers behind a long-awaited conspiracy theory surrounding Tupac Shakur's death. Keefe D allegedly believed that because he got a pardon by the U.S. State's attorney, as he said in Vlad TV interviews, how he did a deal and had a proffer agreement where if he cooperated that they couldn't charge him. Homeboy played himself. I don't know if he read the terms and conditions of the paperwork that he signed with the feds. That protection that he had for his testimony did not include doing podcast interviews, writing books, and talking on camera to other people. He practically talked himself into prison. This is self-snitching at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. And what's crazy about it, man, if you was around during 1996 and 1997 when Biggie and Pac died and when that whole East Coast West Coast beef was going on, you know it was not a joke and people was literally losing their lives. Look, it was scary how many people was dying connected to this situation. It was even alleged that there were even crooked cops within the LAPD that was helping covering up this thing. Allegedly. I mean, it was getting deep, man. Anybody who even said that they had information was dropping like flies, and the streets was out here getting a get back. Feel what I'm saying? And it's very unfortunate because everybody that knew Tupac knew that Tupac was a fireball. Y'all know that Tupac was high-headed. Y'all know Tupac didn't bite his tongue. He spoke what he felt, and he ain't apologized for nothing. Y'all know Pac went hard in the paint, especially when it came to something he believed in, man. And like I said in the beginning, for every action is a greater and equal reaction. When they jumped Keefe D's nephew, man, them OG Crips spent that block quickly, and that get back happened in less than 24 hours, man. They found out where Pac and Suge was going to an after party, and they lit the car up, man. And one investigator with the Las Vegas police said something very prolific. He said that even though it's been 27 years, they still cracked the case, and they still gonna hold the person responsible, the shooting of Tupac Shakur. And as that police officer said, there's no expiration date on justice. There's a lot of conspiracy theories on who hired Keefe D, saying who is secretly behind the plot. It's a lot of whispers saying that allegedly the feds and the cops might be looking at Puff Daddy. I don't know. Ain't none of this corroborated or proven, you know what I'm saying? But I'm very interested, and I believe the world is very interested in seeing who Keefe D implicates in these unfortunate slayings. But it's a wrap for him. It's over with. He talked himself into a prison sentence because he wanted to get clout off the demise of a legend. We gonna see, man. I'm not accusing nobody of nothing. This case is still developing, but I have a feeling, y'all, that this Keefe D arresting is also gonna help police get down to the bottom of Biggie Small's death as well. Because, according to news sources, Keefe D was also at the club the night that Biggie also got hit up in LA. It's some very spooky, scary stuff. Anybody that's in the streets, anybody that's in that gang culture, this is what that street life gets you. A life sentence in prison at 60 years old because people want to be tough and be gangster. Look, make sure y'all like this video. Drop in the comments what you think is going to happen next. Do you think Keefe D going to snitch on more Crips, or if you think he's going to implicate any other rappers in this situation? Tell me what y'all conspiracy theories is. You know, there's people out there who still think that Tupac is alive. Do y'all still think Tupac alive now after all of this? Let me know in the comments what y'all think, man. As I continue to bring y'all this type of news, make sure you support the channel by liking this video, sharing this video, and subscribing to the channel, man. Y'all be great. Be blessed. Once again, it's your boy Kali. Keeping it 100. Always. Somebody got to do it.